Alright guys, just been having a little play with my repertoire today. I've got it up here on the left hand side of the screen, you can see it. As a few people were saying, okay, have you got an idea against this, or what do you play against this, right? So it got me thinking, you can go and see what I play, right? If you go into the chess.com Explorer, go to other players, type any username that you find. Okay, so here you can see that as with the white pieces, it's a bit, I don't know why it goes a bit funny sometimes. Okay, but with 1e4, I've played 1e4 5,300 times on chess.com. Okay, you can filter it to rapid, if that's easier. Okay, so yeah, on rapid I've played a lot more e4. I used to play some London system with d4, but mostly e4, okay? So as white, here, e4 is my opening move, right? Now, there's a number of responses, okay? So, if I play e4, the most common response by my opponent is e5, okay? And if e5, then I know I play the Vienna, right? Now, little question, have a sip of coffee. Who needs an opening repertoire? I would say that you don't really need one at all necessarily. You can get a lot better at chess without an opening repertoire. Okay, if you, for example, if you forget that you know any openings at all, right, and you treat each game on its own merits, you really do just read the board and play what you see on the board, right? You will actually become quite a strong chess player, right? Now, if you want to, and you'll win games and you'll start to learn positions and you'll figure it all out for yourself. Nothing wrong with that at all. If you want to win more and inflate your rating, then knowing at least the first few moves of a few openings would make sense, right? Basically, it will give you an advantage. It will help you to avoid common traps. Like, a lot of people, when playing against me, will play this and go into the Vienna gambit. And this is already bad for black, okay? But, 1500s, 1400s will play into that quite often, and I'm quite happy if they do. Okay, so that's one. D5. Okay, so again with my games, the second most common is actually c5, then e6, then d5. So d5 is the Scandinavian. It's not that common, right? Now, in the past, I've done quite well with e takes d5, 59% win rate for me, 38% win rate for my opponents, okay? But what I'm playing these days is the Black Mardima gambit, okay? And that can go many ways, but that is, as you can see, pretty good for white. E6 is maybe black's best response according to the stats. Interestingly, if they do play e6, this is no longer the Black Mardima gambit, this is now the French, right? So you need to know what to do if you suddenly find yourself in the French. Now, if you're a French player, I am currently playing the French against 1e4 as black, right? So if you're a French player, this kind of makes sense, because if they play e6, you're in a French. Okay, yes, you've got the white pieces, but you might know what to do. So, I've been looking a little bit recently at the Tarrasch, right? Now, here's the interesting thing. Most people who play the Scandinavian, right, may not know the French. Who knows, So this would be a bit weird. And then if they play that, suddenly they find themselves in the French. Now, if you are a French player, even though you're on the other side of the table, you'll be able to recognise the positions and kind of know what to do. So that's an idea. Okay, so that's against the Scandi. What about the Sicilian with c5? Well, I'm currently playing the Sicilian wing gambit with this takes, this, maybe even takes. Knight here, right? I'm preparing to get really good control of the centre. Black's got nothing at all, and then probably capture with a knight. And one idea is to try and get the bishop onto here, and the knight to come into here. How awesome would that be? But that's just one idea among many. It can go lots of different ways, and that's the thing about openings, yeah? We're not talking about learning 10 moves deep in every single blooming line. Because the only time that you need to broaden your repertoire, right? So here's another thing. A standard repertoire will do you very well until you get to a certain point. And the certain point is when you will start playing competitive games against opposition who know who you are before the game, right? Because if they know who you are before the game, they can go onto databases and they can see, all right, what does this person play? And what do they play against this line or against this line? And they can try and prepare against you. But we're talking 2,000 plus at this point. So don't sweat it, right? You don't be an opening whore, right? Don't be promiscuous with your openings. Doesn't make sense. If you want to increase your rating, if you just want to enjoy chess, go ahead, enjoy chess. Try lots of different things. Now, we come on to the French itself. Speak of the devil and he shall appear. Right, so, against the French, I've played a lot of d4, 57%, knight f3, 45%, c4, I've done quite well, right, which is a bit weird, but this is the one I'm playing at the moment, the French wing gambit. Okay, so we already saw the Sicilian one, so the Sicilian one is against this, and you go in with b4 and try and get black to take on there, okay? Now, if you go into the French, then it goes like this. Because what you're doing is you're waiting for black to play his normal second move, which is d5. No, it isn't. Yes, it is. d5, and then you push your pawn. And black's going, well, that's not an advance or an exchange variation. What is this? And we'll just carry on with the next logical move. Pawn to c5. Looks like he's getting really good central control with the pawns, yeah? And then again, you dive in with b4. And black goes, what the huh? And it's the same kind of deal. You know, you can push there, you can even push again, you know, get him to take. You're going to play d4. And he will be in an unusual position. And that's just kind of what I like. So that's the French wing gambit. Okay. Now, what about d6, the pits? I don't really have a plan for this one. So I've got notes on the pits main line. Generally, I would just play it with the straight batter. Go, you want to give me the center? I'll take it a center, you know? And you might find the knight coming out, for example, but in general, I mean, so how do I do as white here? 59, 68, 53. Yeah, there really isn't a line, apart from a6, which has only been played a handful of times, right? Where I do worse than black in this. So it's a kind of slowish one. You know, the thing is that pawn is making life difficult for that bishop. It's a bit like the French defense in reverse, because this bishop's going to be bad, whereas in the French with this pawn here, that bishop's going to be bad. But yeah, I just played chess in that instance. All right, now c6. So c6 announcing the Caro-Kann defense. Okay, so then we go d4, obviously. Grab the center, thank you very much. And I'm playing the fantasy with f3. Okay, and I'm doing all right. Doing all right with the exchange variation, because black now is now a central pawn down, and e6 as well. I'm doing all right. In e6, I've played e5, not recommended. Okay, played that once and lost. Just knight to c3, right? Just shore up the center, develop normally, you know. And that's the thing with this, you know. Just following opening principles will take you quite a long way. All right, now then, g6. So we're getting into funky territory now, right? g6 is announcing like the King's Indian. So he's going to want to play this. But he can't play his knight there while this pawn is here, because you'll push and kick the knight and gain a tempo, which is worth a lot at the start of a game. Okay, so here, what have I played? d4, and I've won 70%. c3, I've won 2 games, lost none. Bishop c4, same kind of deal. So, you know, nothing really to worry about there either. This is a modern opening. You know, white hasn't contested the centre. I would probably just play d4 and just play chess, yeah? And then, last but not least, what else have I found? b6. This is like the mirror version of that, the Owens defence. Again, I'll just play d4. d4, you expect the bishop fianchetto. You might fianchetto both bishops, you know, some people do. And if they fianchetto the bishops, you just have to keep an eye and remember that there are snipers in the area. That's it. Okay, now, so let's flip the board, and I'm going to set it to me as black. All right, so what do I face as black? Well, mainly e4s. Okay, so with e4s, in recent times, in Rapid, you can see I've been playing mostly e6s, so I've been playing the French. Okay, now we don't need to go into that in great detail. I've also got a note on playing the modern / King's Indian, but you know, the French is working for me. I get enjoyable games, and you see I'm doing quite well in Rapid against most follow-ups. Everything down to b3, I'm doing better than white, or better than 50%. So that is not to be sniffed at. Okay, so that's against e4. And the thing I like about the French is, excuse me, that now I'm already in my territory. I'm in France. You know, je suis en France, and now my opponent has to know how to play against the French. Okay, and you know, but the thing is that because we are now in French territory, I've seen lots more French games than white has. You can almost guarantee it, right? Unless white also plays the French. Okay, so you can just build up your routine there, and that's the most popular opening at this level. d4 is a lot less, right? d4 is only a third as popular against me anyway as e4. So with d4, there's a few interesting lines, and there's one that I found today that was kind of fun. Oops, where's it gone? Let's pull it back. Okay. So this has been my most recent thing, is to play knight f6, and then c4 is most common, played just about half of the time, and then playing the Benoni, and if they push, the Benko gambit, takes, you know, this kind of idea, and possibly also, you know, capture with the bishop, which pins the e-pawn. If the e-pawn ever moves, you capture that bishop and the king has to recapture, losing castling rights. So I'm kind of enjoying that so far. Another idea against d4, which I may look into, is this. Now, this is the Horowitz. Now, you may recognize this move. This is the same move that I play against e4 and get into the French. Because what I'm thinking is, right, if I like playing the French, what if my opponent plays e4 now, right? Look, d5, and we're in the French, yeah? We're on my manner. Now, here's the thing. What is white? White is a d4 player, right? d4 players don't know the French, they don't see the French, they don't meet the French. So why not, it's just an idea, yeah? e6, e4, d5, aha, and now, we are in my territory. Ah, you pig dog. You with your English niggets. Yep. So that's a thought, isn't it? And they may not play that. Okay, they may play c4, and you're going to find yourself, what, Queen's Pawn opening Horowitz. This is kind of an English all over again. So you could even try c5 there. I don't know. You could just bring out knight f6. Don't know, but I might look into that one. So that's kind of English styley. And then if they play e3, okay, you can play f5, and this is kind of funky. This is, it still just says the Horowitz defense, but f5 is a kosher move. And here, look, against knight f3, I've won 2 out of 5 games. Every other game I've won. right? So this has actually done pretty well for me. So this, I think, is a line that I'm going to explore. Yeah? So if you also notice, we've opened up this line, which is very similar to the Caro-Kann fantasy variation, okay? So I'll pull up another Explorer, I'll just flick between them, right? So there we go, Explorer. So the Caro-Kann fantasy, if you recall, C6, this. Okay, actually it's not very much like it, but you have opened up the line there, okay? So in this instance it's kind of different. Now, but in both instances, because you've moved the F-pawn, you're going to have to play a knight out to stop the queen coming in here, that's all. Having said that, if she wants to come in here now, she's more than welcome, and just get shooed away. But this is kind of a slightly weird and funky position, so kind of like this one. Okay, so we're as black. Now here's the other one that I found today. This was from Eric Rosen. It's this dirty London trap. Okay, so d4, d5, and he played this in a 3-minute blitz against something like 2200 player. Okay, bishop comes out, and we go, oh no, the London system, right? h5, right? Now if he plays this, which is very, very normal, particularly in a fast, time format. If your opponent hasn't seen this, e5 wins the bishop. Okay, this is madness. Okay, I think it is London bishop trap. Okay, so let's say bishop takes the pawn, you go here. Okay, bishop can't go there, can't stay here, right? So if bishop goes here, boom. Bishop retreats again, boom. Bishop's lost, yeah? What else? What if pawn takes? Now, the bishop can't proceed down this way anyway. g5, protected by the queen. Bishop's got nowhere to go other than there. Bishop is lost, right? It's bonkers. The bishop falls. So I may start playing this. However, it does mean that if my opponent doesn't play the bishop out here to f4, we're going to get into a lot of other territory. So might have queen's gambit. So I'm going to have to come up with a line against the queen's gambit. Having said that, if I play this move against d4, then again, there's lots of different ways that white can go. Okay, he's not going to play e4 and lose the pawn, but c4, very common. Bishop f4 again, because they just play the London, because they always play the London, right? So, that's it. At least it'll keep you on your toes. Okay, so what about the Reti? Knight to f3. What? What is this? So again, I've got good results against the Reti. My poorest is d6. Don't do terribly well with that, but d5, and you can go into a kind of reverse London if you want to do that. So there is this. Okay, so against the Reti, e6 is an idea. Okay, and this is like again going into the French. So let's say your opponent does this. We're in the French defense knight variation, right? It's just as though we'd done da, and you play that. And if he takes, you take back, and you're in French territory once again. There are a lot of French territories. Okay. Now, if he doesn't play that, if he plays c4, then this is a kind of this is the Steiner French. But again, we're looking at transposing. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to come up with creative ways to get into the territory I'm likely to know more than my opponent. Okay, and that's the fun of it. That's the strategic fun of one of the types of fun that you can have on a chessboard. Okay, now we have the English as well with 1c4, and what I've written down here is b6. Okay, I don't know if it's very kosher. It just looks a bit kind of unusual and funky to me. And then if they play knight to c3, bishop b7, and that's as far as I've got with that. But I really don't face the English very often. How often do I face the English? c4, I've seen it 72 times in Rapid out of 2,500 games. All right, so it's really not very common at this level. Okay, and then the only other one that I've ever seen is the King's Fianchetto. Right, so this is like going to be a King's Indian attack, and again, you just go, you know, I'll just go into like a reverse London. If he wants to Fianchetto his bishop on the light squared long diagonal, suits me. I'll just, you can't capture now, so what's he going to do? He's going to bring his knight out, and I'll just play a London-style pyramid and try and neutralise that bishop. Okay? So that bishop's just going to be sitting there in a defensive role for most of the game and crack on. So I've had this exact position 6 times, and I've won 5 of the games. So there you go. So that's my repertoire. Let's dive in and maybe play a quick game and see if we can... okay, let's do a 10-minute rapid. I've really slipped in my rating the last few days. Okay, d4. So, what shall we do? Let's play d5 and see if we can get that London trap. Are you a boring old London player? You're a Frenchman. Okay, let's play this. Now if he plays e3, he is a gone. And now, you see, I've confused him. Okay, so he's brought his knight out. This is fine. Alright, so now we just go into playing chess. Okay, I can't kick the bish. I'm going to want to play that at some point in time. Let's bring my bishop out. Okay, so this is just chess now. Just play chess. Knight's defending that. Queen's defending that. So this is the accelerated London system. But he's confused. You can see he's confused. It's a 10-minute game. He's used 30 seconds already. He's only played 3 moves. And this is what I like to do. This is my style. Now, it might not be your style, you know. Maybe you don't want to wrong foot your opponent at the earliest opportunity. Wow. Marin TBS. Marin TBS. Come on, what are you going to play, eh? Joue. They say jouer, jouer in rugby. It means play on, play on. I haven't blown the whistle. So I was hoping to be refereeing a game today, this afternoon, but for one reason and another, a lot of teams are struggling to put out players at the moment. So, okay, I think that looks good. Knight there also looks good, but I think I would like to play c5 before I play my knight out. Got to be worried about this. You always want to prevent your London player from getting his knight into there. But there's not much I can do about it right now. I do have this as an idea. Okay. And now I'm going to throw c5 in straight away. Yeah, I want to mess up his prospects. Right, Queen's looking at that, so that rook is technically pinned to the pawn, and he's disconnected. Cowards! Off with their heads. 14-24. I was 15-24 a couple of weeks ago. Ah, he's come back. Very interesting. If I play knight to f6, we have an exactly symmetrical position. Okay, I have a check. Is he going to want to throw in a check? Knight blocks. Ping. Could take out the knight. If I take out the knight, let's say rook captures, queen check here. What's he got? The bishop can't come back to defend. The other knight can. He's got too many knights that can defend that. Okay, let's propose a trade of bishops. See, because he's moved h4, he can't drop the bishop back to here and defend it with the h-pawn, which is something it's the typical London thing. Of course, London's a big place. It's a very big place, Mr. Chandrak. A man could lose himself in London. Lose himself. Lose himself. Lose himself in London. Ah! In comes the knight. Incoming! But what's he want to do? He can't get there, he can't get there, he can't get there, he can't get there. I might hassle the knight. See, if I had a knight on here, I'd worry about trying to take there, because pawn takes and you get a pawn fork. But I've held back on bringing that knight out. Switch my phone off to stop WhatsApp stuff coming through. What you going to do? So he's really having to think. I like making him think. It's just my thing. Especially in a 10-minute game with no increment. When I started on chess.com, 10-minute games was blitz. I remember when all this was just fields. He's under 7 minutes now. And we're still in the opening. Knight there now. He has knight blocks, or queen blocks. Je l'ai fait penser. I've made him think. He doesn't know what to do. He's in an unfamiliar part of London. I've found myself in a strange part of London. The worst pies in London. Sweeney Todd musical. Very, very good. Very good. Well, I'm glad I've got my coffee, otherwise I'd be falling asleep. Oh, something happened. Right, now I'm just going to take the knight. Should I just take the knight? Should I just take it? Shall I? So he's taken in towards the centre with his c-pawn, right? If I take the knight, bishop takes, I can kick. If I take the knight, pawn takes, I can take. No, I can't, because I haven't got a knight anymore. Knight go, pawn takes. And he's blocked off his bishop. Need to think about getting the king safe at some point in time, but I may just wait for his clock to run out at this rate. Okay, now bishop has to drop back, and it's pretty obvious it's going to go there, yeah? He might push a pawn, doesn't bother me. I am unconcerned. This bishop's now got a bit worse, hasn't it? Okay, and let's throw in the check. Queen can always defend there. Okay, now he's pinned his own knight, yeah? And my knight's now got trouble. Year and year. Thinking I might stick my queen here and castle long. Don't know. Is that just silly? Or knight out here. Let's bring the knight. Knight's got to do something, so knight here. If the bishop takes it off, I've got rook takes. That's fine. If the bishop doesn't, I mean, this king wants to castle over there. Queens are on the board. He wants to get his king safe. I've got options with my bishop. I've got knight h6. And if he starts pushing pawns too, so if I played like knight here, pushes pawn, just jump back, and now he's weakened himself. So I've still got both bishops on the board, so has he. All that's gone is a knight, and he's got this extra pawn. But he's burned a lot of clock to get it. So we are weaponizing the clock here. Allez! That's a thought. Yeah, I think just in general idea, get the knight out, castle locked, castle short. These pawns are going nowhere fast. I can shore up my pawns on this side. I actually have a pawn majority on ABC. So my feeling is that this guy has got to 1492 off the back of playing the London a lot and not being put out of his comfort zone. Alright, why? Does he want to push a pawn? Can't think of any other reason. But I'm going to bring my knight out, stick to my plan. This guy likes burning his clock, so I'm going to help him burn it. Burn it. That pawn is now undefended. So I could even drop the bishop back and have a poke at that pawn. He doesn't know what to do. You've been out chessed, bruv. I kind of remember also, because I like doing this, I highlight undefended pieces and I highlight pinned pieces in blue. So there's different types of pinning, of course. See, this knight can't move. It's in an absolute pin. So, the queen's looking at that. What do you think? Huh? What's your idea with that move? Okay, I'm just going to castle. Dude's got less than 3 minutes left. I'm going to make you think. Well, I'm going to make you think. Thinking till you can't think no more. Okay, he's attacking my undefended pawn. Whoop-de-doo, it's defended. This pawn's doing a great job. This pawn is even better of a defensive piece than my own pawns because white can't take it. So white is faced with an impenetrable wall of his own pawns here. Okay, now you come after the knight, dear. I ain't even bothered. King defends. 2 minutes 26. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So with this kind of time advantage, all I need to do is not lose. Okay, so he's stopping my knight from coming in there. That's fine. He hasn't even castled his king yet. This knight is still pinned, so if I... How about b5? b5 as an idea, maybe... Should I'll play a6 first. I can't see any real threats. His knight could come in there, but he can't because it's pinned. Let's play rook here. I just want to get him doubting himself now. How long's that been in the past? Ah, there you go. There you go. See, I didn't see that one. Okay. This is fine. Well, if I take now, he has to take back the pawn, because the knight is still all together now pinned. Okay, so knight's still pinned. Now he's got a very naked king. He's a very naked king. Doesn't look good, that king. My knight is bad. So I'm thinking we're just going to push up. Like you say, we do have some advantage on this side of the board. Guy's got 2 minutes, but he's got to win. Got to win in 2 minutes. And I don't think he's going to give up the bishop pair. But that knight's got really no prospects. I'd love to trade it off for one of his bishops, but I'm not gonna. So what does he want to do? He wants to take, eh? Okay, let's do this. This knight is still pinned. Happy days. But it's tick-tock time now. Okay. Alright, so I have to take back. Okay, now I'm thinking... Hang on. If I take and take... He's got messed up pawns. Rook here looks good. I'd love to jam the rook in there. Oh, he's attacking the pawn. If I play f6 and he captures en passant, doesn't save the pawn. So, queen's going to come in here. Right, so I'm thinking bishop down to here looks sensible at some point. So I'm thinking rook here. I want to get both my rooks involved, then bring the bishop back. Okay, so the only real threat is this. But I can jam that up now. Yes, jam it up. He's got no light squared bishop anymore. This knight is still pinned. I'm blue in the face, reminding myself of that. So now I'm just blocking. Now all I have to do is block. The guy can't land a punch. Queen can't come in there. I take it. Are you quite mad? Rook here. Might even dodge out the way. Oh, he's pinned it. Pawn. You devil. Ah. Didn't they see that one? Didn't they see that one coming? Huh. Right. Right then. He's well up in material, but so I just need to hang on. He's got 1 minute 15. How are you going to win? You've got to win the chess game. Can't go there because queen takes. Bah. All right. I think that's worthy of a bada boom. Maybe even a big bada boom. Bosh! To quote a venerable grandmaster, put that in your pipe and smoke it. Ha ha! I've won your queen! And you only have 50 seconds left to win the game. Alright, I'm attacking his bishop. Now this is the point where we go calm. Chilling. Okay, knight's defending this, nothing's defending that. That's defending that, king's defending that, knight's defending that, rooks are happy. Okay, on my side of the board, that's not defended. And he's resigned. Good! Take that. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Mets ça dans votre pipe et fumez-le. Okay, there we go. So, yeah, little bit of fun today. That was a nice little game. Again, completely random game. If I wanted to, I could go in and analyse and update notes and stuff like that, but I'm not going to because I can't be bothered. But hey, so there you go. You know, a little conversation about repertoires and stuff like that as well. Hope you've enjoyed it, and you know, if you want to go and build yourself a repertoire, if you want to take mine, run with mine, see what you like, go for it. Otherwise, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.